Good morning, everyone. For the record, this is 11/11/2021, and this is our ongoing business development advisor training. And today, you get the honor, and privilege of having me 3 weeks in a row because we skipped out on last week. We were supposed to have a carrier come in, but they had to reschedule. So next week we will have another carrier in. You will be relieved of my constant 90 minutes of me, and we may not go that long today, but the focus of today is event-based marketing. That's what we're going to be talking about today, and we actually have some events that we are putting on that you can actually practice this with. So we're going to be doing, this is going to be more of an open discussion, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the events that we are putting on over the next 2 months. And we'll actually be active on your computers because I'll have you guys go to like LinkedIn and we'll go to links and things like that. But event-based marketing, to take a step back and just talk about the basic concept of it, is the idea of using events to talk to agents about and invite them to those events instead of first off inviting them to or trying to earn their contract right away or asking for that. So it provides multiple things. So number one, it gives you an easy invitation to. Agents love, even whether it's a webinar or a live event, especially if you can provide and say that there's some sort of value to it. Agents love jumping on those things, and they usually pick up some nuggets and some aspects that can help them in their business, which is why they attend them. So very easy marketing. Number two, it's another touch. So it allows you to see information that you don't have to put on yourself, and they see that we're providing value, which gives you the easier way to, after the webinar goes on, to ask them for a contract. And usually the webinars are going to be based on a carrier or some kind of that, something like that, that you can go back and say, hey, you saw that great information. How about we get you contracted with that carrier and start implementing that idea in your practice? Number three, it provides value for the agents that are already contracted with you as well. So this is a stickiness factor also. So these are going to be concepts, ideas, strategies that are going to be helpful for agents and agencies. And especially if you're working with any agency owners, this is something they can plug their agents into, which is another key point as well, because that's, again, something that you're taking off the agency owner's plate to be able to have them implement something that they don't have to take time on themselves. So those are kind of the three kind of basic concepts and ideas. There's a lot of other things that go along with that. Before I go into anything, I'm going to open up to everyone else. I know we have a lot of people that have done event-based marketing in the past. What would you guys say? Is there any other value or things that you can think of even things that you picked up on as an agent in the past of attending events? And I know, as an example, Jeff, you just came in from an event and learned some information. So I'll probably pick on Jeff since he's on the video as well. But event-based marketing, what has been your guys' experience? Has it been something that you have learned from? Have you attended events before? And did you see some sort of value from those type of things?
Yes. Want me to? Yes.
I was going to say, you can start, Jeff.
The ability and of the exchange of ideas, and also the development of relationships.
Absolutely.
I don't know if I can get more specific, but that's pretty much what happens at like industry events.
Yeah. And you bring up another point, like especially if you're able to do a live event. Webinars, that's sometimes a little tougher to do, and depending on the structure of the webinar, but it still gives the idea, if the webinar is hosted the right way, the ability of hearing from other agents and advisors and what they're doing. And, you're talking about a piece of content, and then there's questions afterwards. And usually there's some things from that people that agents can implement right afterwards. And that may be something that, someone says something or makes a comment, which is why there's usually a Q&A section afterwards. That usually helps, but you're absolutely right. It's getting to know other people in the industry, seeing what they've done. And there's a lot of times that we pick up on one thing that can change the trajectory of an agency or an agent's practice, just learning from others. So being around other people is important as well. Anybody else's? And I was gonna say, G, good to have you on as well. G, just because I know you jumped on after I did introduction, we are going to be talking about event-based marketing today. Anybody else experiences with event-based marketing? I know a couple of you won't have too much experience in that because the whole industry is new, but I mean, Jody, anything on your end about event-based marketing that you've attended before?
I don't know, do expos count?
Expos count too. That's still a little bit, I mean, not as much of what we're talking about, but it's still the same idea. Like that's something that we'll be putting on in the future as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've done seminars and expos, but I'm not sure they're in line with exactly with what you're speaking about.
Yeah, those are a little bit larger events. They're longer. So it's a different look and feel basically for that. And there's usually a lot more vendors. It's usually a day or 3 days. But in what we're talking about with event-based marketing is things like an hour webinar or a lunch and learn, or doing an evening event or something like that. For specifically, these are agent-facing events. So we're not talking about doing client stuff and things like that. In what we're talking about, because we're talking about marketing to other agents. And just to check, because I see Jody on there twice, is the other Jody Jason?
It could be my laptop. I was having trouble with my laptop.
Okay, I was curious.
Yeah, I accidentally
I was gonna say the other Jason got on. Hey, I'm glad it worked, Jason.
Yeah, let me get
No
off
worries.
my laptop.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about with event-based marketing, is really lunch and learns, smaller events. They're usually only like an hour or maybe a couple hours tops. Webinars. So those are all things of what I'm talking about with event-based marketing. And it's going to be important for our discussion because we haven't put on event-based marketing too much in the past year. Like we used to do it a lot. We used to do about a lunch and learn at least once or twice a month in the past before COVID. And then we did a little bit of webinars, and then we kind of curtailed it for a little bit. But now we want to get back into it. We're going to start by doing webinars. And that's really what we're going to be going through today. Is there's 3 webinars that we have coming up, and we're going to have a webinar every other week that is agent facing. So these conversations and the stuff that we're doing here is for you as marketers, you as business development advisors. But the events that we're going to be talking about are specifically for the agents that you are trying to get contracted, trying to add value to, or already working with. This is something that you can invite them all to be able to, provide extra value that you don't have to put on yourself. You guys aren't hosting these. You guys aren't. I'm not going to ask Jeff to speak. And go from there. But so none of that, all you have to do is invite people to. I'll be honest, you guys don't even necessarily have to show up to those meetings. You probably want to know what the meeting is about so you can talk about it afterwards. But this is not something that is meant for you as marketers to show up to. You want to get a good idea of what it's about so that you can talk intelligently about it afterwards. But really, this is a tool that you can just invite people to, and then it's a follow-up. So you'll talk to them afterwards and say, well, hey, how is that information? What did you learn? How can I help you? Can we earn your contract from what we talked about? So what I want to do next is, unless there's any other questions, that or thoughts or concepts about event-based marketing, I'm going to share my screen and I want to talk about the next 3 events that we have going on. And I know I'm gonna ask Jeff, Jody, how much did Wella go over at any of these events yesterday?
I don't believe, what was said was that we are moving our time to 11 o'clock, where it's going to merge with, expand our information
Gotcha.
capability.
So, yep. And on your guys' end, it's because I know you guys already have a standing meeting for the agents. So, part of on that side for you guys as well is I know Dennis is going to leverage these events that we have going on so that he can offload a little bit of doing an idea of the week every single week himself. So every other week he gets a reprieve basically. But for you as marketers though, this is going to be something that, again, Jeff, you already know the deal. Like I said, you're talking to marketers. I'm talking to agents right now. This is something that anybody that's on the fence or you've talked to, you can go back to and say, hey, just so you know, we're hosting an event, at this time, this is what the webinar is going to be about. This is, the reason that you should be on it. And then basically asking for them to, would that be okay if I sent you an invite or registered for you right here? And if the agent says yes, then you got them to say yes to something that you have putting on that may get you closer to earning a contract, basically. So that's the context of what we're using these events for. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to talk about the events.
Nathan, I have a question.
Yes, go for it.
Are we going, or is there any way we can somehow do a little info portion of it? Like, I don't know when they're going to be hosted, but if they're after Thursday trainings, or if we could do the Thursday training before, where, I don't know, the last 10 minutes is spent on, hey, here's what's happening in the event. Here's the talking points. So you guys have some conversation competence. And then that way, if we're able to pop on, great. If we're not able to pop on, then especially for someone like myself or Debbie, who is brand new to this, we have a little more understanding.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's so I'm going to go through some of that. Like I'm going to spend today actually going through these events and addressing a lot of things that you're talking about, basically. So I'm going to beat you to it, Jake. So right now, and I'm just showing this through my LinkedIn, and there's some things, we'll have some nice, like I just created these this morning. There's going to be, we'll put some nice graphics on there, but right now the 3 events that we have coming up are November 17th, December 1st, and December 15th. And what it's going to do from here on forth, every other week, we are going to have an agent facing event. So the next one would be the 29th of December. And then the one after that would be 2 weeks after that. So January like 13th or something like that. So every 2 weeks, we are going to have an agent facing event. So the idea of what everyone can use this for is make sure that you guys know what the next event is. And part of what you're talking about with every agent that you talk to, whether they be an agent that already is contracted with you or an agent that you're trying to earn a contract from, you should be inviting them to an event like this. So the next one that we have is living benefit business planning. So I'll get into that in a second, but the time is always going to be the same, November 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. These are going to be webinars. We will be doing some lunch and learns and things like that, and live events, but we'll always have this webinar series going every other week. And this will be something that's going to be good value. We will have these recorded as well. Excuse me. But living benefit business planning. So before I say anything, what do you think this webinar is going to be about?
AIG Partners Group.
You're wrong, actually. But it could apply. It could apply there. So living benefit business planning. Just from the title, what do you guys think it could be about? And Jeff, you're allowed to answer now.
Well, with the word business in it,
Yeah.
it's going to be related to that,
Yes.
how living benefits can be incorporated in planning for a business, is what my take on it is.
Yes. That's so the reason I'm going through this is important because if the title of what we are doing is not something that someone can see the title and be like, oh, I at least know a little bit about what it is or why I would show up to something like this. We definitely we'll go into the description, things like that in a second. But living benefit business planning is exactly that. In the business world, there are insurance policies that can be used, and there's things like buy and sell agreements, executive bonus plans. There's key person policies. There's a split dollar. There's all sorts of stuff. Those are some of the main terminologies that are used. That insurance is an important component within the business world. Typically, especially because of where policies have been over the past decade or two, and the type of policies that have been out there, living benefits are not as prevalent within the business planning world. So the idea of teaching an agent how to use living benefits as part of their value proposition to talk to small businesses about how to implement their insurance planning is what this webinar is basically about. Now, we are going to have a carrier talk about this. So the carrier that's coming in is Mutual Omaha. I usually don't in the event, and we'll jump into it in a second. We don't say who well, actually I do on this one. I apologize. A lot of times I don't say who the carrier is, so that they can guess themselves. They have to see the information. But if you go to details, I have a small description. So join us for some great information you can implement to give yourself an edge in the small business planning marketplace. Do you currently work with business owners, or have you tried to get into the business planning space? Either way, this will be a great webinar for you to join to learn about a product that takes a slightly different approach to business planning. So Stephen Alloy, and then I have all of his alphabet soup afterwards, from the Advanced Sales Department of Mutual Omaha, will be our guest speaker for this webinar. So this one actually say who the carrier is. The other ones I don't actually, but that's what this webinar is about. So based on what you just read and saw, and I kind of gave you guys already some teasers as well. On your own, what are some things that when you're talking to an agent, what would you tell them as a reason to come to this event, basically? This is where audience participation is good.
It's going to be something that if they want to break in, they can start to get an understanding of being able to expand their own distribution or their agency's distribution into this line with some understanding. Specifically, I'm assuming he's going to reference some of his own products. So with an understanding of immediately where you can go to implement this in the immediate future, or if it is something that they've already been doing, but they feel like they need something new, maybe this provides them a new take, a new option, some other ways that they haven't thought about things.
Absolutely. That would be very accurate. And, having that conversation and specifically on that. So anybody else, a value of an agent or agency or whatever showing up to a webinar like this? Think you're talking to an agent and you're trying to get them to this event. All right. So Jeff. Oh,
Oh, I was just say I got another idea that's a different area.
gotcha. Well, hold on to that thought for a second.
Okay.
And then we'll jump back to that. So Jeff, I'm going to role play with you for a second. So ring, ring.
Hello?
Hey, is this Jeff?
Yes, it is.
Jeff, this is Nathan from Praxis Agency Consulting Group. We are an insurance marketing organization that helps supports agents to achieve their goals and create more revenue. Do you have a couple minutes to talk right now?
Yes.
Hey, the reason I'm giving you a call is we actually have in a webinar that we're doing on November 17th. And I wanted to invite you out to this. Out of curiosity, Jeff, are you in the small business planning world?
To a degree, yes.
To a degree? Is that
Yes.
something that you, I mean, ideally, if you could, would you like to do more of?
Sure.
So would you say that you're looking for some other avenues and some other ways to be able to get into more businesses?
Yeah, I'm always open to it.
Well, and that's the reason I wanted to invite you out to this webinar. So what we're doing is it's a living benefit business planning, and we are going to actually have the advanced sales department of Mutual of Omaha come in and specifically go over a concept and idea that is going to give you an edge in the small business world. It's going to be a great webinar. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to jump on here right now and I'll send you an invite as well, but I'm going to go ahead and register you for the webinar so that you can get that sent over. And then afterwards, I would love to have a discussion, see what your thoughts about it are, and see if there's something that we can help you implement to be able to get larger into the small business world, write more premium, and of course, put more money back in your pocket. Does that sound good, Jeff?
Yeah, it sounds really good. Would the business have to be placed with Mutual of Omaha?
It doesn't have to be placed with business with Mutual of Omaha. We have a lot of other carriers that are in the business planning space. That'll be a discussion that we can definitely have and maybe see what you're currently doing and if there's something that we can earn on that side. But of course, Mutual of Omaha is the one hosting it. So of course they would love to get some premium for this, but you know how that works, right?
Yes. Okay.
So like I said, I would love to have that conversation right now. I really just want to provide some value to you and show you, some of the things that we put on right now. Out of curiosity, are these things that your current IMO are doing for you or helping you out in those areas?
They haven't, pardon me, they haven't done something on this topic, no.
And like I said, we're here to play nice in the sandbox together. But as you know, I mean, my main focus is I would love to be able to earn your contract by providing value to you. So I'm going to get your information, make sure I have the correct information. I'm going to invite you to this webinar, and then let's make sure that we schedule a follow-up afterwards to have that conversation. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. So from there, I would, bring them on to the, I would register for them basically. If I have them on the phone. Now, if you want to send this out to a bunch of people too, you can. So the other, you can invite them on LinkedIn straight from here if you already have them as a connection on LinkedIn. But I would control the point of contact because agents, you'll send them an email about this or a text and they'll forget to do it. Questions about what I just did? You guys are an easy crowd today. Is everyone awake?
As far as inviting people, where do I go on LinkedIn to find that? Is that under Praxis?
Yep. So it's under Praxis. And what I'm going to do is, like really quick, I'm going to share this with, I'll find a bunch of you real quick. So there, you're going to get an invite.
Thank you. And then I can turn around and invite people from that.
Yep. So yeah, it's an open forum for that. What are you on LinkedIn? Are you just Jeff Drucker?
I think so.
Are we not connected?
I'm not connected to you.
This is going to be awkward if I'm not connected with you. Well, let's go fix that real quick, Jeffrey. I'm going to go make sure that I'm going to go make sure. And then, and so yeah, what you guys can do is go to the, you can go to Praxis ACG. You'll see the events. Where? Did you blacklist me, Jeff?
No,
I can't even find you.
that doesn't surprise me.
Anyways, we'll fix that later. Yeah, that's weird. I don't see you anywhere.
Well, remember, there is a picture of me in my LinkedIn.
Yeah, it's
That is weird.
anyways. We'll fix that later when everyone's time right now. But let's see if I can find. I was gonna say I know I have Debbie. Yeah. So I'm sending out some invites right now. You guys jump on there. Like I said, even if you're not going to show up to it, just growing that attendee list. Now, the next thing, just so everyone knows, even if you hit, someone says they're attending, if they don't register for the event, because the event link's right here, then they won't get the Zoom webinar information. We'll make sure that we'll put posts and things like that on there as the event gets closer and closer, make sure that people are registering. But this, we have, like, between everyone here, and there's not, of course, not everyone here shows up on these calls, but we have about 15, 20 of us basically, that if everyone was going into here on the event, especially on LinkedIn, and then making a comment or inviting their network. If each of you invited, if we had 10 people and each invited 100 people, that's 1,000 invites. So that's something that we can create a lot of traction for an event like this. And when it's well attended and people are, registered and things like that, that makes it very easy for you guys to go to. Yeah, we have about 70 people showing up right now. We're going to cap this event at 100 people. I would love to get you a seat on it, and then you create some urgency then as well. So there's lots of things that we can do as we market the event, but the main one that we're going to be using is LinkedIn, just because there's so many people on LinkedIn, and especially in the insurance world of what we're doing.
Is there a limitation to the amount of invitations we can send out?
There's not a limitation on LinkedIn. There's the limitation for the webinar is going to be 500 people.
Okay.
But yeah, you can go in here and, like I said, I can click, clickety, click, 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 and keep on going. So, and I can do that for as many people as I want, basically. So leverage that. Like I said, that's the living benefit one. Any questions on this one?
Is there a way to link that invitation of people that aren't on LinkedIn?
Yeah, so then what I would do is, here's the registration link. So what I would do is I would just take this and then email it to them. You can text this link. This is the direct registration link for the webinar.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Any other questions on that side? I suppose just a few other things just on the LinkedIn site. You can add it to your calendar, of course, from LinkedIn. When you register, you can add it straight from here as well. So you register for the event, and then it will ask you if you want to add to the webinar. So just so that you know, all the information that we have on here is, name, email, address, phone number. I added state in there, not a required one. And then how did you hear about this webinar? As people register, what we'll do is I will get everyone a registration list so that you guys know who registered and who didn't. So if you have a small list of people that you're sending out a registration list for, and we can also do this in HubSpot as well, in the custom original source or a campaign. Basically, we can make a campaign saying, event-based marketing, living benefit business planning. And you can just click all the people that you've sent a message to. And then you can look at that list on HubSpot as well. So I'll do that in HubSpot in case you guys want to use that feature also. Any other questions on LinkedIn and the registration on that end? And like I said, the only other thing that the only thing I'll say on this too is, if you guys have, well, not if you guys have a chance, but I would recommend is everyone putting a comment on here at some point, just saying, hey, really looking forward to this event. Excited for the information. Because then when other people go to this, they'll see other people being like, oh, this is good information. So like I said, there's psychology behind there's oh gosh, what's the reason for the madness? Method to the madness. Thank you. There we go. Thank you. There's a method to the madness. So that's the last thing I would do too, is go on here, click start a conversation, or post basically. And then it will allow you to, and just put a comment, something about that you're looking forward to it basically.
We should all probably share that as well, so it goes out on our feed, right?
Yes, thank you. That's the other thing you should do too. So you should go into, so I'm viewing it as a member right now. So events, go into here. So I'm in this, so make a comment on here. And I'll do the same. And then this share button. So share in a post. You can also share in a message, but share it as a post and say something about the event. And that will post it all to your network as well. So I will be doing that also. This one's fine. The other ones that we do, wait, because we're going to have some different graphics on here, because right now I have the same graphic on here. So by the end of the day, we'll have other graphics up for the other events, but this one, post, share, send out invites. This would be a great tool to use to get more people to be able to talk to and talk to as a warm lead rather than a cold lead. All right. Any other questions about this event? Jake, you had one other idea too. Do you want to throw that out there?
You actually covered it. It was just going to be, it can be a way to, if it's someone that you're possibly already talking to, but they've kind of always just been on the fence, it can be one other basically free way to show basically a qualitative value that we can present that's non-restricting to them. If they want to come, they can come. If they don't, it's non-committal, but they can see without having to get a contract or anything like that, what we could potentially provide, which could be huge.
Absolutely. All right, so that's living benefit business planning. The two other ones that are on here are quick and easy term with the credit card. So don't wait till the end of the day to share this one. Like I would actually market the other event first, but like I said, it has the same graphic. We're going to have different graphics on here. So details, just so everyone sees. So and this is super simple, but are you looking for an even easier way to sell term insurance? Do you have clients that ask to pay for the premium with a credit card, but don't have that option currently? Would you like to have an option for the client to fill out the application on their own? And do you currently, do you want to get cases approved in 20 minutes and get paid quickly? If you answered yes to any one of these questions, then come join us for this webinar. So those are your sales questions, basically. So when you're on the phone with someone, you can ask them that, hey, are you looking for an easier way to sell term insurance? Well, an easier way, what's that mean? do you have clients that pay for premium with credit card but don't have that option? Well, I mean, I don't know many carriers that have a credit card option for people to use. And then, just go through the questions. And if they say yes to any one of them, then you say, well, hey, I would love to invite you to a webinar. We're putting on a webinar on December 1st. It's going to be great information. And I would keep the carrier close to your chest this one, because you want them to show up to the webinar and have you share that information, rather than if you tell them, well, yeah, this is a Symetra webinar. If you tell them, hey, this is Symetra, then they can go back to their IMO and ask for the contract, basically, which it's going to happen sometimes, but not very often, because you're the one that's providing the value. But in this case, keep the carrier close to your chest and just say, we have a phenomenal option. We have one of the carriers that we work with rolled out with us a quick and easy term insurance that you can use a credit card on, not just for the first premium, but indefinitely. And that's what we're going to be covering in this webinar. So any questions about that? Quick and easy term with credit card. Like I said, we'll do that one on December 1st. All right, then the last one that we have on right now, and there's one more event that we'll have before the end of the year. But I don't have that up and running yet. We're still getting the person who's going to fill those shoes, but is the last one. So this is probably the best marketing title out there out of all of them. The easiest way to get paid on a 6-figure case in 2022. Who's not gonna attend a webinar like that? If we don't get 100 people on this webinar, we're doing something wrong. We've got a month to market it, basically. So just so that you know a little bit about this and what's going on in the back end of this is, the easiest way to get paid on a 6-figure case in 2022. Phenomenal marketing title, should be easy to attract other people. So I'm very basic on this, but looking to start the new year off with a big commission check, then join us for a webinar that will give you the strategy to make that happen in a space that is underserved in the insurance world. We will give you the, we will give you the knowledge and the direction to make the title a reality. Woo! So just so that you guys know what's going on, this is Protective is the carrier that's going to be coming on. And specifically what they're going to be talking about is their executive UL in the group life insurance space. So literally there is an activity that they do to show you how to, some thought process of where you can find group life insurance cases, how you can get into them. And they also go over they're going to go over their product that is about, I think, I don't know the exact number. It's like 60 or 70% of all the group life business that they're doing is replacement business. And the reason it's replacement business is because their executive UL is so competitively priced that it is beating out other group life policies. So they've made a phenomenal product in that market space, really easy in, even for someone that doesn't have any, isn't doing group life right now, or is already doing group life and wants to find a less expensive option for the same type of coverage. Amanda is our point of contact. She is going to be the one that's going to go through this. And we already saw this at the conference, and she does a phenomenal job on this. This is a great one to be able to market as well, just because, like I said, the title is just, it's very attractive. Any questions on this event? So same thing, registration link, invite, share, make a comment. Any questions?
You should write that Chanel check.
Questions, comments, concerns, conundrums?
Oh, actually, once these happen, and this actually is something I've been curious about. Once these happen, and theoretically, once even this BDA training, everything that we're recording.
Yeah.
This all goes on to our YouTube page.
Yeah.
Our YouTube page is public?
Yep.
Okay, so in theory, we can tell people to go to our YouTube page?
Yes.
What
So-
I'm asking is, do we, let's say, for example, all of a sudden, after that business, the easy way for living benefits with business planning one happens.
Yeah.
Let's say I start talking to someone that this would have been huge for me to have had, but it's already done.
Yeah.
Okay, can I tell them?
So on that side, what we usually do for those type of webinars, so these webinars, no one's going to be interested unless they're the marketer.
Of course.
But on those webinars, what we do is we make them on demand. So we make them what's called an evergreen webinar. So you guys would have a link for, because they would have to register to see that.
On demand.
Yeah, that on demand
Okay.
webinar.
Okay.
So that allows you guys to market even the recording of the message after it's already been done, but not just so that they see it and we don't even know if they saw it or who viewed it or things like that, but rather that they can then register for that event again. And that gives us give us a message saying so-and-so registered to see this on-demand video. And then we can send that out to you guys so that you sent information out to someone on a recorded webinar to watch a recorded webinar, and we can let you know that, oh, they actually did see it. Like they registered for this again.
And where are these stored?
So they're stored on Zoom basically.
Oh, okay.
So there's going to be a link that's generated, and then you guys will get the link. We'll post that in Band. We'll also, we'll have a document that will have the title, the date that we did it, and the link that you guys can go into at any time.
Okay.
And then you send that link out to them for them to register for the recorded webinar, basically.
Okay. Cool.
Did everyone follow that?
Mhm. You're just saying there's a source that when we do one of these topics, that anybody that we make contact with afterwards, that if we want them to see it, we will have a source for specifically where we can send a link so they can view it.
Yeah. And specifically that link, they will have to register for,
Right.
just like they're doing here. It'll be the same registration basically, but that just allows us to track if someone's actually watching it rather than just sending them a video on YouTube and we don't know if they viewed it or not, basically.
So theoretically, then, if I have a dozen individuals that I want collectively to see it, I can designate a time like we're doing now in the future. So February, I've got a dozen people.
Yep.
And I all want them to view it at the same time.
Yep.
I can send out that one link, specify a time, and have them all view it together.
Yep. You can.
Okay.
They'd be all viewing it. Like they wouldn't be in a group. They wouldn't be in a
No,
group together.
It
But
would be
yes.
independently, but if I designate a time,
Yes.
then it comes up and shows that they are viewing it. And either later that day or the next day, I can get back to all of them and get their opinion.
Absolutely. Yep. And when they register, then, our system will let us know, and then we'll send the message out of who registered and things like that, so that you guys can know that they actually did register it for it, basically.
Building off of that, do we know at all what the quality is like if we were to have done it in Zoom? So like with what Jeff is saying, what if Jeff wants to even go so far as to be not in control, but kind of be in control for like immediate interaction? And Jeff takes those 12 and says, I'm not going to give you the link. He doesn't tell them this, but he says, I have this that you want. I want you to come be part of my Zoom. I'm going to show you this. And then Jeff basically shares his screen and he controls it so that at the end of it, he's then able to say,
Yeah,
I
it would
think
look the
this-
same way.
so my question would be, do we know if that is that
Yep.
quality gonna be okay, or is that gonna be, okay?
Yeah, because it'd basically be just going on here, like if I went to, YouTube right now. Because this is exactly what that would look like,
Mhm.
except for just be Zoom, basically.
Right. And I guess this would be something that, since now I'm with Nathan in the office, this would be something that you guys would need to evaluate kind of what the quality is of the video. Because this, in my mind, this would be something interesting where you could still have people from different organizations, and then you could say to them like, hey, in the chat, which you'll find by doing this, go down and select to send a message only to me, and please, I'm gonna put a calendar link in the chat to everyone. Go ahead and either send something directly to me or use this calendar link right now, and we can set up an appointment. That way it's like super hot lead that you were already talking with, and then they just watch this and you directly interact with them.
Yeah. Yeah, which is a possibility. Like that's a lot of time to spend with some
But
agents.
that's one event that if you take
Yeah.
Jeff's example, you're spending arbitrary amount 1 hour for 12
length of
people.
time that beneficiaries
That
can
could
receive
hopefully
income
maybe
from an
yield
inherited
you
IRA.
5
We'll
appointments or
focus on
whatever
that
you
piece.
say.
Yeah. So
I'll
you
give
guys,
two
you
ideas
guys
or
are hearing this
potential
right now.
solutions, how you can help some of your clientele in that
Yeah,
area.
it's.
And then
clarity
third,
is
I'll go
fine.
over
Yeah.
one part of the
This
new
is
CARES
exactly
Act
what it would
relating
look and
to
sound like,
being able
basically.
to.
Beautiful.
All right. Other questions about the event-based marketing stuff?
No, the possibilities are endless.
They are. Debbie, I'm sorry to pick on you for a second. Debbie, how are you doing? Like, does that make sense of marketing and getting that information out to agents and inviting them to a webinar? Any questions that you have?
No, I'm very familiar with this kind of format. So yeah, it's,
Is
Yeah.
it's something you actually know?
I can do this. This is like training, so I can do this part.
Awesome. Well, then beautiful. I just wanted to make sure. And then, so then last piece, because then we're going to wrap up a little bit early. We will not be here till 11 o'clock. We'll probably be done at 10:30. So everyone go on to, I'll of course invite everyone as well, but go on to that LinkedIn page. Say that you're going to attend the event, and specifically do the first one. So the living benefit business planning, and attend the event, share it as a post, and then invite others that you know from LinkedIn that are in the insurance or financial space. And then you can follow up with them afterwards. And then, of course, those are the activities that everyone can do. The last one is comment on the event. So comment, share, attend, and then invite. See if I got those right. Comment, share, attend, and invite. Those would be activities that are worthwhile for everyone to do, and use that for the first one, that living benefit business planning. And then after you market that one for a little bit, because that one is next, that's in 6 days. And then the next one we'll do is December 1st. And then that gives us always basically 2 weeks to market each event, basically. So that's a good time frame. It's not too long. It's not too short. And those would be the things that you guys do. Leverage it how you want to. Start inviting other agents. Start finding them. If there's any questions, let me know. If there's anything that you're running into that we want to tweak or things like that, that's what the group is for. And that's what, so like that, a great place to be able to do that would be on Band. Like, hey, I've been talking to a few agents, and this is the feedback that I got from them. And I think if we change this one thing, this would be beneficial. Put that in the band group and post that so that everyone can see it and we can have that conversation. That's what band is designed to do. And you can also post things like, hey, I just talked to 5 agents and all of them want to attend the event and they've already registered. Like, that's a good report too. So with that said, anything else? All right. Well, then I appreciate everyone's time. This is going to be, of course, in our Praxis YouTube channel. I'll put the recording up after it's done downloading. You guys know where to find me. Post stuff in the band if you have other questions. Leverage these events. This will get you more people to talk to and a much warmer lead, basically, in that marketplace. So without any further ado, everyone have a wonderful rest of your day, and we will talk later.
Likewise. Have a good
Thank
day,
you.
everybody.
All right. Catch you later, everyone.